boys and girls, I got some true stories to tell.
Alan Moore is one of the best writers in the world. He's the writer of Watchmen, and he also has written a lot of short stories. He's written a few novels. He's just incredible, and what he does is something that I don't think I'm ever going to be able to achieve in my lifetime as a writer. He manages to challenge the reader in ways that sometimes it can be quite sometimes it's not super fun to read, but you feel challenged reading it and it really sparks your imagination. Like, he's got a story called Hypothetical Lizard, and I think that started off as a graphic novel or a comic, but he novelized it, and it's one of my favourite stories I've ever read. It's really fascinating, really well done. If you haven't read it, go and read it. It's in the Illuminations short story collection that he's done. But what I love about Alan Moore is the way he talks about writing and his whole philosophy to it. So he did this kind of online course with the BBC Maestro program thing, and he talks about how writing is essentially magic. He said that writing started off as shamanism, and it was a way for people to communicate, but a lot of other people, most people, didn't understand what writing was. They couldn't read, they couldn't write. So to a lot of normal people, those people who could do that, they were communicating in secret ways, and it may as well have been supernatural magic because it was so weird and it was like talking in code. Before writing, we had an awareness of things and we could draw things, but we couldn't retain full-on detailed information the way that we do now, and that's why we can lay down the foundation for history and all that stuff. Alan Moore then goes on to explain that the original bardic tradition of magic is based in writing, but being a writer was probably more feared than being a garden witch or a sorcerer, because if you were a sorcerer and you put a curse on someone, maybe your hens would lay funny for a bit or your child would be born with a squint. But if a writer were to write a satire about you, you could be destroyed in the eyes of the people around you, of your loved ones, of your friends, in your own eyes, even after you're dead. Maybe then you would be humiliated even more hundreds and hundreds of years later. That is way more terrible than being born with a squint or something just very minor, because those things are manageable, but humiliation and being destroyed publicly, that's not great. He then goes on to explain that the early gods of writing, like Odin, Thoth and Hermes, they're also the gods of magic, and he doesn't think that's a coincidence, and I agree. And it's for that reason that writing and magic are essentially the same thing, but writing also paved the way for all sorts of other art forms, whether it's painting, illustration, filmmaking, music making, anything. It could be literally anything, acting. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, right? Because the whole point of all of this art getting passed down through the generations, it is a tradition. It is something that transcends just normal labels or normal people. It's a genuine craft that people have to work hard at to understand. If you're making art and you go online and you post it, but you just call it content, never do that. Don't call it content, because by doing that, you're selling yourself short. You are giving in to the capitalist social media bullshit algorithms created by billionaires who don't care about your craft or take it seriously. These are the same people that are trying to make AI so they can replicate your creative work so they don't have to pay you for what you're doing. Calling it content just makes it blend in with everything else. You're not creating anything special. Maybe you are, but by calling it content, what reason do I have to watch? Because everybody can make content, anybody can do content, but you're an artist, you're a writer, you're a dancer, you're a filmmaker. You can create genuine, incredible art pieces, and I don't view that as content. I don't view what I do as content. When I'm writing a short story, writing my novel, when I'm making videos about an art piece that meant a lot to me, or like Elden Ring, or a film that really struck a nerve with me and I'm talking about it and I'm editing a video in order to make it digestible for people but also express myself in an abstract way, I don't call it content, because the minute I start calling it content, it just blends in with everyone else. And I don't want it to blend in with everyone else. I remember the days when calling your stuff content was a bit of a dirty word. I used to hear it and I would go, ooh, the word content, it just feels gross. But now it seems to be completely the norm, because social media and short form content and short form TikToks and Instagram Reels and all of that stuff, it's convinced us that anybody can make anything. And yeah, that is true. Anybody can make anything. Anybody can make content. But what you're doing needs to be special and needs to stand out. I've seen people film really impressive videos of paintings that they've done or illustrations that they've done. I've seen people, there's a guy called Ari, I can't remember his last name, really big at the moment on YouTube. He live streams going through New York, creating hip hop beats or any sort of beat on the spot, gets rappers and singers to just join in, and it's so fucking incredible. But there will be people that call that content. And it's not content, it's genuinely impressive art that deserves a voice, that deserves to have a platform. To put it in perspective, this kid is going around New York, he's got a massive rig set up, he's got speakers on his back, a keyboard in front of him, sample machines, all sorts, right? He's carrying all of this around New York, and he's finding incredible talent around people. He's finding the culture of New York, and he's just getting people on. Now, I'm sure that he probably does get a few bad people every now and then, but the amount of talent that he finds in public, it's astounding. And not only is that art, that's community, that's showing people that you have something great that you can show off to the world. So to call what he's doing content would really rub me the wrong way. I would never call that content. And maybe I'm just a bit bitter because I used to work in marketing and I used to be surrounded by people that would create content, and it was always, I'm a content creator and you've got to create content to do stuff. I think if you're working in a business and you're posting branding stuff to promote your business or whatever, then yeah, that's content. That's not art, because it's just not art, is it? If you're an artist and you're a creator and you're creating something, just don't call it content, because it diminishes what you're actually doing. Creating art takes a lot of blood, sweat and tears. It requires you to look directly inward. It requires you to really challenge yourself and confront a lot of things about yourself that you maybe don't want to deal with. When I was writing my novel, I would have days where I was just really down because of what I was writing about. But my job wasn't to feel down, it was to write. And unfortunately, that's just part of the process. Like when I'm making these YouTube videos, I do get quite burnt out. I do get quite tired of it. But I'm doing something impressive here, I feel like. I'm creating videos that people are interested in, and I'm expressing myself in ways that I think are quite unique, especially in the Elden Ring field, but I'll talk about that in a minute. And quickly, I touched on AI very, very briefly earlier, but I just want to say, have you noticed that it's not creative people or artists pushing for AI? It's never that. It's businessmen and lazy people who don't want to put in the work to learn a craft. I saw Brandon Sanderson make a quick video the other day talking about how when he was writing one of his books, he asked his artist to create a very specific page, and he would keep asking him to change things every now and then, but he would never call himself the artist because he's not an artist. He didn't draw it. Maybe he was the art director, but he didn't make that piece of art. If you're using AI to create art, you're not an artist. You're just a glorified art director who's telling something to do something. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, I don't use AI for things. I do use AI. I use ChatGPT to analyze data and figure out trends and what's working or not, but I would never ever in my life use it to create something meaningful, to create art. I mean, when I was writing my novel, I would never ever use, I made it a very strict rule to never use AI to write. But let me tell you why I love creating things, why art and all sorts of art forms, why it all means the world to me. One, I just love creating. It is difficult to explain, but I've just always been a creative person. I've always loved creating things, and I don't intend to ever stop. In a way, it is a form of therapy. It's something that has helped me to understand a lot about myself. And sometimes it does make me feel worse, but usually it's usually for a reason. And almost all the time, the end product is 100% worth it. Number two is I just love finding new and abstract ways to express myself, whether it's writing my novel, whether it's making these videos, whether it's making music. I absolutely love finding ways to express myself, and I love seeing other people finding ways to express themselves in abstract, fascinating ways. I'm not saying that I love all pieces of art that come out of the world, obviously not, but when I see people doing it with a lot of love, when I see people expressing themselves through art, it really makes me happy. And number 3, as I've said, it's a tradition that has been passed down through the ages, through years and centuries. When I think about that, it blows my mind. I saw Jack Howard the other day. Do you remember OMFG, It's Jack and Dean? But he's recently created a short film, and he premiered it at the first ever cinema in London, or the UK, I think. He was talking about it and how, as he was watching it, it hit him that it was the first ever cinema in the UK, and now it's showing his short film, and how trippy and crazy it was. It's just incredible to think about. And so when I think about the writing that I do, when I think about the videos that I do, I think I'm just following in the footsteps of other people that have done similar things. And you should too if you're an artist. And number 4, this is going to sound really pompous and arrogant, but I just want to be the best at what I do. I want to be the greatest. You know, when Kendrick Lamar last year smoked Drake, that man really inspired me to try and be something great. I had lost a lot of the fire that I once had as a creative, because life is just fucking difficult and it's hard. But listening to that man talk about the things that he does, going and listening to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and, you know, hearing what he said during the beef, I was blown away, and I forgot how much I loved Kendrick Lamar. And I think a lot of it was lost on me the first time I'd ever listened to him. And now I'm like, I love him, and he's inspired me. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to get that out there. I wanted to talk about why you need to stop calling your art content, why you need to embrace what it is you're doing. And now, very quickly, I'm just going to talk about this channel and what's going on with it. So I initially created a video called I Can't Stop Thinking About Elden Ring, and it was kind of an impromptu thing. As you can see in the video, I was wearing a dressing gown. My demeanour was all quite low, but I was just talking about how much I love the game, how it inspired me, how it really helped me out. And then I went on to talk about some vulnerable stuff, about my mental health, about how low I was. And that's kind of what propelled that video, and it's now nearly got 50,000 views. And I can't believe that, because that was just a really one-off thing that I did. I didn't expect that to blow up or anything. So then I started realizing, okay, people want to hear me talk about video games and Elden Ring more specifically, and also what inspires me, and I talk about it from a human perspective. But the thing is, and don't get me wrong, I adore the fact that Elden Ring has pushed me into this career that I'm trying to grow now. I'm really proud of the fact that people enjoy my videos. I'm really proud of what I'm creating and what I'm doing. But I need to take a break from Elden Ring for a bit, because I'm fucking exhausted from it. I spend so much time playing that game, and because I'm not just playing it, I'm analysing it, and then I'm writing about it, and then I'm recording it and video editing it, and then publishing it, trying to figure out how I'm going to get people to watch it, and looking at the analytics, figuring out what's working. And I'm not just analysing it from a lore perspective, I'm trying to look at it from a personal perspective. And I think I want to just touch on this briefly. I think the concept of what I'm doing is getting a bit lost on people. I talk about the game and what it means to me, and I preface every single video that I do saying it's not a lore video. I'm not talking about the lore. A lot of it is my own interpretations and how I feel, and I don't care about getting super nitty gritty. If you want to correct me in the comments about things, please feel free to do so, but don't be a dick. And recently, I've had a few dickhead comments, and I need to figure out a way of how I can convey the message that I'm saying without getting hung up on the lore and stuff, because that's not what I really want to do. There are so many lore channels out there. There are so many people talking about different aspects of the lore, all sorts of things, and that's not what I'm here to do. I want to do something different. I'm a new player, and I've explained this in the Discord. I'm just saying I'm taking a break from Elden Ring for a bit. I think I'm just burnt out from it. I need to take a step back, think about what it is I'm going to do next with Elden Ring, think about how the next video is going to go, and I promise you that when the next Elden Ring video comes out, it might not be for a few weeks because I need to take a break. It's also my birthday soon, which we'll get to that in a minute. When I come back with Elden Ring, it will be bigger and more interesting, and I'm going to try and figure out what I can do differently. And yeah, I'm turning 27 on the 13th of July, and that's a weird one for me, I think. I didn't expect to get to this age. Last October, I went for a run and I sat in front of a church just to rest. And I remember looking up and thinking, if I don't come off my antidepressants, I'm not going to make it to 27 years old. And then I came off my antidepressants, and turns out it made everything worse and I was more suicidal. But then I went on new antidepressants, and it helped me out a lot. And here I am, still alive, and I can't quite believe I'm still here. And I do feel quite exhausted. You know, I've just lost my dog, my cat's on the way out. I still don't have a job. I'm really trying to get one. Financially, I'm a bit stressed out. So I'm just trying to balance everything and also make this YouTube work and do stuff that I love. Here's what I'm actually going to talk about on this channel more. I'm going to talk about more real shit like this video. I'm going to talk about different games. I want to talk about Elite Dangerous, Final Fantasy 7. I want to talk about more Hitman. I want to talk about Attack on Titan, Mob Psycho 100. I want to talk about Kendrick Lamar. I want to talk about all sorts of things. I never intended for this channel to be an Elden Ring channel, and I still don't intend it to be that. I've seen a lot of familiar faces that come around, and it makes me genuinely really happy. So thank you so much for watching. And also, we've got some channel members, and rather than do a voiceover, I'm going to say it here. So my members are Derek Arthur, Pwefu, Split Prune, Travis Baker, Frog and Toad, Namfam, and The Worst Protagonist. That's a new one, The Worst Protagonist. 7 members. It's fucking crazy. Look at us go. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you don't mind some of the crap that I'm talking about, and me just going on and on. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and I'll see you on the other side.
Most you niggas see the throne as a destination. I see it as a stepping stone for my elevation. 6-figure deal. Look, mom, I made it. Got straight to work. I ain't even celebrate.